Check, check, hello. Coming to you live from outer space. Nearly outer space. Kind of my rocket ship here at the Music Radio Creative Studios on the Isle of Wight. Whoa, that's weird, isn't it? So in this live stream, I'm going to talk to you about... enough of the reverb. About creating space sound effects. So it's very exciting to have you here. This will be a live stream entirely based around outer space and all that trickery that we do in the studio. Like, for instance, let me click my fingers. This. Yes, that's it. There's a green screen behind me, but let's not spoil the fun. That's better. So it's things like that. It's things like taking normal everyday things and turning them into things that are out of this world, quite literally. Hi to G Monahan, who's watching on Facebook Live right now. Happy to give you a shout out if you're tuning into this rather impromptu live stream, where I'm going to show you some tips and tricks. And you'll see if I just go over to... that's Isabella there in her spacesuit. See, she's staying nice and warm today. This is my desktop right now. As you can see, I made a beautiful thumbnail for this, but YouTube certainly wouldn't allow me to upload it for this live stream, so I'll upload it afterwards for those watching the replay. But anyway, you probably want to know a little bit about space sound effects. So how did this all come about? Just recently I did some work for a client who requested for me to create some space vocal presets. And I'm really pleased to say that we delivered the presets yesterday. The client was extremely happy with them, and we're going to release them to you this coming Friday on Free Jingle Friday. So if you'd like to make all kinds of things, actually it's probably better that I play rather than explain to you. So space vocal effects, and then in just a moment I'll show you how to make some sound effects that you can be using in your production. So let me go ahead and grab this multi-track session, space presets, and I'm going to load it up in Adobe Audition now. There it is. Okay, so you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different vocal effects, and they're all me talking. So the first one here is a track with radio talk.
Registration number MSV770.
And that would sound really good, wouldn't it, if we had some kind of ambience, some kind of spaceship ambience going on in the background. By the way, Doug is surprised to say, it's midweek, Mike. What on earth are you doing here? It's rather impromptu, but I just thought I'd kind of invite you into the studio for an hour while I work on a little project here. Nad Kisora is there. We got Hona as well. John's watching. I asked for a jingle a few weeks back on the Friday session. Does everyone get it done? We do our best. Join us this Friday, John, and hopefully we can create yours. So let me take you in now to, by the way, hello to everyone who's watching all over the place. I know some of you are joining in on LinkedIn as well, which is wonderful to see. That's a new platform that we're live streaming on at the moment. And it seems to be working out pretty well. So if you're over there on LinkedIn, actually I can see Lynn is over there on LinkedIn right now. Thank you for joining in, Lynn. Do say hello if you're watching over there. As you can hear, a little bit of radio talk.
Registration number MSV770.
Okay, and what I can do, actually, let's budge these little clips up. I can actually record impromptu other stuff into here. Let's arm this to record and say, we're on the tail of a spaceship. It's crossing over the galaxy. My goodness, this is amazing. And then straight away I can play it back.
We're on the tail of a spaceship. It's crossing over the galaxy. My goodness, this is amazing.
So stuff you can do like that. Then we've got a track here that I've designed for video calls.
Hello. Yeah, that's the plan. You have my word on it.
So that kind of 2001 A Space Odyssey, space log kind of thing. Again, recording into this track. Space Log Journal, day 1054. And then play that back.
Space Log Journal, day 1054.
And then we got Helmet Talk. This is one of my personal favorite effects.
What happened here?
So this is kind of inside the spacesuit, inside the helmet. And as I delete that, and I can say, let's actually budge this up so I've got a bit of space. We'll say, oh, that's the wrong track I'm recording onto. Not that one. Let's record it onto the Helmet Talk. Like I say, if you're interested in these presets, they're going to be available for you to download from this Friday. Tune in to the live stream on Friday for more info. I'm stuck here on an alien planet. The jets in my rocket have blown out. No contact with any life anywhere. And then play it with the effect. I'm stuck here on an alien planet. The jets in my rocket have blown out. No contact with any life anywhere. And then if you want to speak over a ship's intercom, yeah, there's a preset for that. Let's play it back. Calling all members on board this ship. Man your posts. Battle stations. And then play it back inside the preset. Calling all members on board this ship. Man your posts. Battle stations. And then the really freaky one, the computer voice, which we all need. Let's record into this one. One of my favorite lines ever from one of my favorite movies ever. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. Okay, and you'll see there's a lot of stuff going on as I was going through. You can see some of the effects I've used, tons of stuff here. FFT filter to shape EQ, tube model compressor to give it that kind of nice retro feel, a bit of distortion. Actually, I use distortion so much on the Radio Talk, I bust it over to another track and added in some extra distortion and shaped it further, but pulled it down in the mix. So you've got that real scratchy kind of...
We're on the tail.
We're on the tail, and underneath you can hear that that's going along. So that's kind of bust distortion over there. Video cool, simple scientific and FFT filter going on. Helmet talk, lots of sharp echo going in on there. Ship's intercom, basically it's echo, and then analog delay and echo making a robot voice or computer voice if you like. Hi Bjorn, hi Japanese Dream, hi Marvin who's watching, Jack saying yeah right now. We got Mark Thomas over on LinkedIn Live, Michael Howell, hello to you. This is a surprise on my way to a client appointment, but walking around, lots of coffee involved, and space sound effects it seems as well, which is really nice. And we got Udistra, top fan, over on Facebook right now. So yeah, what I'm going to attempt to do in this next sort of just under an hour, generate some sound effects that we can actually use in this. So not only can you take space presets and vocals from outer space, but you can also go ahead and add in some really cool stuff. And for this, I'm going to be using a combo of Logic Pro that I was using as you heard me jamming away on the keyboard earlier. Let me just actually show you. There's a keyboard over here. Whoa. And let's bring this in. It's just a tiny little jammy keyboard. I've used this before. It's the Ikai Professional LPK 25. Looks like this. The Ikai LPK 25. It's brilliant for just jamming little ideas out into Logic, and that's exactly... Sorry, I keep cutting to Isabella there. She's not looking impressed. She's working hard. Look at that. That is someone who's hard, down to business now, podcast editing. She probably doesn't even know I'm talking about her right now, but her camera is on my hotkeys, so occasionally I'll just cut over to Isabella for fun. So, you're right, Cato, Logic is now up to 10.4.5, which is very exciting. Thousands of MIDI tracks can now be implemented if you so wish. So yeah, I was just going to go ahead and generate, actually, first of all, what I'd like to do is delete this track. Yeah, that's okay, gone. Okay, let's create a software instrument, and we're going to go for, what are we going to go for? A synthesizer, and then in experimental under Logic, we can grab a load of stuff, and I did find something earlier, I think it's Sci-Fi Communications. Quite fancied this inside Logic. Nick Nimmons in. Hey, yeah, she does look serious. Hey, Nick, nice to have you here. She's looking super serious. Look at that. That is the serious, I can't hear you, headphones on, podcast editing look, which is great. So let me show you this one that I found inside Logic called Sci-Fi Communications. And if I just hit a key on my keyboard here, look at that. That's really freaky, isn't it? And then if I actually pull in other stuff like this, so other keys, just adds in a little bit of ambience. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording that into a track now from the start, and then we'll take this over into Adobe Audition. So we've got that creepy backdrop right now. And I'm just hitting random keys here. And the more keys I hit, the more intense the sound gets, and the less keys, less intense. So what I'm intending to create here is a little loop that can be used for background ambience as our heroic space explorers are traveling through the galaxy. That's the first sound effect that I'm now pretty happy with, so I'm going to stop there. That's recorded, Sci-Fi Communications. Then I'm going to go in, add another software instrument on another track, and I'm going to start recording from this point. And again, it's a case of going into the synthesizer, picking out some cool stuff. Got some really cool stuff in here. And I'm going to use this as that's kind of beam me up kind of sound effect, isn't it? But I'm just going to take that and I'm going to shape it later in Audition. So at the moment, it's really a case of using Logic to lay down the bass sounds, the sounds I can't create. Obviously, a MIDI keyboard really helps with this. But don't think that you have to go ahead and you have to grab a MIDI keyboard and Logic. As I have demonstrated previously on some of the live streams I've done, you can actually grab everyday items and just put them in front of a microphone or even a portable recorder like a Zoom recorder, and then record that and bring it into Audition and shape it. Actually a fantastic tip if you want to create space ambience, an electric toothbrush is amazing. Just doing the and then like pitching it up and down inside Audition will really create you some amazing sound effects. But let's go ahead and let's record this one here. So recording again into Logic, it's giving me the countdown, and then let's get a nice long little decay on that, which is really cool. Nice to see Jack and Tuhin there in the chat as well. Matt Rodriguez as well. Lovely to have you there. So that's a very simple effect that I'm going to be using. New track as we go ahead and create more effects. So my idea is to create a kind of a bonus pack to go with those presets I demonstrated at the start of the stream, those vocal presets. I also want to give you a bonus download that will have all these different spacey sound effects that I'm creating. And then you'll be able to go ahead and create your own space productions. So let's see what else we got. We got Alien Alarm. This is actually one of my favorites. I'm definitely going to grab this. So we can play different notes. If you fancy going down the scale. Bits like that. So you can actually make a tune out of that one, but that's just basic Alien Alarm. Let's move on. The idea is to get as many ideas laid down into Logic as possible before exporting the whole lot, bringing it into Audition, and hopefully wrapping up by making a bunch of really cool effects. So again, back into Synthesizer Experimental here. Let's see what we got here. Autofocus. Yeah, that'll work perfectly as shooting lasers. So let's wait for the decay to finish on that. It's kind of decaying into nothingness. Stop. Yeah, okay. So autofocus again for alien lasers. Okay, here we go. Well, that's a cool sound. That could be like alien Morse code, couldn't it? So really, it's just a case here of experimenting, playing things, jamming on your keyboard. And I always find, I really wish there was MIDI inside Adobe Audition, but I always find that just jamming with Logic to get some ideas down is the great place to start. And then once you've got those ideas recorded and down, then you can move it over to Audition, because I find Audition is great for manipulating sounds. So once you've got the raw sounds, you can then go ahead and bring them in. Let's start up another track right here. Thank you so much, GFX Mentor. Nick says that sounds awesome. Thank you, Nick. Do you make digital music? I don't personally make much digital music myself, but we do have people that create music tracks here at Music Radio Creative. It's certainly something that we're doing a lot more of, and yeah, definitely. That's definitely something that we do, but myself, not so much. Kato says you can use modular controllers to vary VCF modulation. Wow. Sounds like an alien language in itself, doesn't it? But thank you, Kato. Mega Radio UK, hi. There's one show musical that springs to mind. That's Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. Really cool stuff. Keep the comments coming in. Michael's giving the thumbs up over on LinkedIn Live, which is great. We got Oliver and Raven as well, just joining in on Facebook Live. So what I'm doing here, if you've just tuned in, is I'm creating spooky, crazy outer space sound effects, just experimenting here. Then I'm going to bring them into Audition, and I'm going to create a packet of space downloads. So let's see what else we got. So we play with autofocus, backwards metal. Oh, perfect. This is another... That's a freaky kind of ambience, isn't it? Not sure if I'm going to use that one right now, though. Oh, that's weird. Get a load of that. It's like when you're on the mothership and you go to the center and there's this kind of pulsating thing in the middle. Let's record a bit of that. Whoa. That's demonic. Okay, enough of that. That'll do. Dark Movements definitely lives up to its name. I'm just reading Cato's comments. Always one to put a joke or two in the chat, but some of them are definitely not safe for work. So let's create a new a new track here and go into synthesizer, experimental, and we'll go into Falling Cycles. That'll do. Let's record a bit of that. Okay, on to the next track. And again, it's not an idea of necessarily getting things right or wrong. It's just an idea of getting things down that can then be played with later. Oh, that's nice. This is the typical dance sound effect you hear in so much EDM. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's a riser. It's usually whoosh, 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 and then the drum beat drops, boom, like that. And I think we can do stuff with that because it's basically white noise. So let's get some of that in. Why not? Good idea to record some of that. Just a single note, I think, will be enough for that track. And then we'll go in and we'll add in another track. Isabella still deep at work. Oh, a little smile there. Nice. Excellent. That's all right. You're doing your thing. And then over here, I'm having fun with space. Let's go to... game over. Nice. Oh, that's definitely handy. Let's get one of those in. And I bet you had no idea you could do this kind of stuff in Logic unless you've done it before. Logic traditionally used for creating dance tracks, popular music tracks, great for any kind of MIDI compositions, but also if you really dive into some of the more experimental features inside Logic, there's a whole bunch of sound design stuff that you can use to really go ahead and create your own sound effects from scratch. So I really recommend it if you're ever working on like games or movies that require bits like that. Go ahead and have a mess with these effects. You'll be surprised at what you can create. That one will be good. Let's get that one in. Ali says, love from Pakistan. Where's Dominic when you need him, says Doug. I know. Rather impromptu live stream here, though. Unplanned. Yes, a lot of fun. Okay, right. Let's do that. So we've already got some really good ideas down here. Software instrument, synthesizer, experimental. Let's see what else we've got. Oh. We could use that. Let's use that. Let's just use that. D sharp. F sharp. Okay, enough of that. That'll do. Then we're moving on to another track. And this is a very quick and dirty way really to lay down a ton of stuff in here. So synthesizer, experimental again. More white noise. Not too concerned with white noise, as you can generate that over in Audition. Okay, that's helpful though. Cool. Okay, great. I love the little cutovers to Isabella every so often. Live on the stream. Right, let's go in here and software instrument, record, synthesizer, experimental. What else have we got? Nope, not going to use that one for the moment. Perfect. This is the kind of ambience that I was using earlier for the space background, that spaceship. That sounds very 80s, very Duran Duran, doesn't it? What else have we got? Oh, I love that. That's got a bit of oomph to it. Let's record that in. Space with some of these. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, it's so much fun. Really enjoying recording the different sound effects. So I've got about 12 tracks in there right now, and I think I'm pretty happy with what I've got on the screen here. So again, if we use the controls here to just zoom out and take a look at what we got. So we laid a ton of stuff down. Now the idea is to get all of this stuff out of Logic and pull it over to Audition. So I'm going to go into the file menu, export. And I want to be exporting all tracks as audio files. Let's just go to my Space Effects directory. Let's create a new folder in there called Logic. So I know these are the raw recordings. And then everything else should come in. It'll give it a track name in the pattern, track name, and then custom. You can obviously change that. You can change day, hour, second, year, whatever. I'm just going to leave it as is. We can go for IVE. We can go for Wave, actually. Wave might be a bit better, seeing as we're working in Audition. Although saying that, 16-bit, 32-bit float, probably better to push up the bit rate. Yeah, and as I thought, if we go to Wave, yeah. Oh no, you can't. No, 32-bit float is only allowed in IVE inside Logic Pro. You can't do 32-bit. Wonder if you can do 24-bit Wave. Let's try. Yeah, you can do 24-bit Wave. Let's go with the maximum quality possible, and then export all that stuff into that directory. There they go. Okay. And then I'm just going to have a look into my Space Effects directory. Logic, as you can see, it's writing them all in here now. So once they're all there, I will then drag and manipulate inside Audition. Let's wait for those all to get out. And while we're waiting for that to happen, let me know if there's anything you'd like to know in the chat. And I'll do my best to help with it. Otherwise, just stick around here, and we'll do some post-producing over inside Adobe Audition in just a moment. So, it looks like everything's been written out now, which is good. So I'm just going to drag this stuff now into a different multi-track here, Space Effects multi-track. I'm going to drag all of these in and see how we can have fun with all of these. Right, yeah. If I hold down the Alt key, this will place them all on their own separate tracks, like that. And we can see everything we had inside Logic is now inside a multi-track of Audition. And it's kind of put them in order here a little bit. Okay, so let's start off. Let's actually start off with this one, Sci-Fi Communications. And I just want to see what's possible with this. Nice stuff. So I just wanted to see really with this one if I can kind of space it out a little bit more. So a little bit of, let's go for reverb and see what we can do with this. Okay, let's turn it into Great Hall. And actually what I'm thinking might work here nicely is the Essential Sound window just over here. And we'll go for Ambience. Move over. So I've assigned this as an Ambience soundtrack now. Then we can do from the outside. We can change it into large room ambience. Wind effect. Room ambience. Let's try that. Which is nice. Not too bad. Let's see. Wide and deep. Let's try this. Outside of ambience. That might be better. You can actually stretch this as well. Or move it down in size. Speed it up a bit. Which is quite nice. What I might actually end up doing is turning this into a loop of some kind, so somebody can use this for the background. In fact, this would be perfect inside the space presets that I've got. If we go ahead and grab that, so that was, I believe, Sci-Fi Communications. Drop it on this this raw track.
We're on the tail of a spaceship. It's crossing over the galaxy. My goodness, this is amazing.
Okay, and we can actually turn this down in volume.
We're on the tail of a spaceship. It's crossing over the galaxy. My goodness, this is amazing.
Okay, so ideas on how you can use these effects, and then we've got this one over here. Right, I really quite like the sound that was coming out of this. What I'm gonna try and do is layer up a few sounds on top of each other and create something really quite fun. So let's just try here and here. Okay. Let's pull those all in together. Maybe do a slight pan on this side and a slight pan on this side. There we go. Now, if you're listening in stereo, this is going to start sounding really tasty to you. Then I'm going to delete all of this stuff. Okay, and it's going to need a cleaner in, so let's do that. Select everything, fade in, and then we obviously want to put some kind of reverb on this, so let's do that. I'm going to bus these all. Where am I going to send this to? I am going to send that out to a bus, stereo bus. This will be a reverb bus. And we'll send everything else out to the reverb bus. And that basically allows me to add multiple effects, or the same effects to multiple channels. So now I can go in and really grab some reverb. Let's start with Studio Reverb. Let's do, what do we want here? Let's start with a large drum plate. Okay, and let's bring that decay up. Okay, let's make that really high. Fade a little quicker. Okay. That's good as a take. I quite like that. So I'm going to actually take this now and bounce this to a new track. And let's go into, where are we here? Multi-track, bounce to new track. Select Eclipse in time selection. Boom. There we go. And there's our first. Now actually, doing that, it didn't bounce the bust track. So we kind of want to do a different bounce option there. Learning this here. So bounce to new track. Time selection. Let's try that instead. That should include the bus. And so it has. Okay, let's make this... let's just shape it a little bit with some EQ before we finalize it. What am I going to go for here? Parametric. Okay. And let's see how we go if we bump up some bass. Let's look at the preview. I really wanted to kick right there where the bass is, so that's really where there's a lot of bass kick. Let's put up at the high end. Oh, sharp. And again, I can use this like a little periscope to scan through frequencies. Hey Crypto Cruising, great to see you. The Studio Reverb does seem to be the best out of the whole selection within the Reverb panel. You're absolutely right. In fact, I very rarely use any other Reverb, simply because it's great, it's pretty zippy to get through, and it seems to be less CPU intensive as well. So when I'm going through trying to add various reverb effects, I find when you add full reverb or something like that, it's just a little bit more. So I think this is good in terms of some of that. I might try and add a little bit of light compression as well. So let's go into dynamics and just we'll just use the compressor in here. Let's pull the threshold down, push the ratio up a bit. Okay, that's way too much. Push up a bit. Because we still want it to have that punch. We don't want to take the punch out of it. Okay, up a bit more. Let's pull the release down. Okay, we're getting good there. So then I'm going to favorites, normalize it to 0.1 dB. Yeah, that's meaty. And then I'm going to go into Spectral Display, and this is how I know exactly how I'm going to be cutting this. I'm going to be cutting this looking at the Spectral Display rather than the waveform, because the waveform is rather deceiving. Obviously, according to the waveform here, it looks like... Let's just go to waveform only for a second. Can we do that? It looks like the audio ends about here according to waveform view, right? So if I was editing by waveform, I'd just delete that, wouldn't I? And I'd say, okay, that's done. There's my first sound effect. But in fact, if we go back to spectral view, you will see I'd be losing all that decay there on my sound effect. You see that? If I unhighlight, see all that purple there, I would be losing. So I definitely want to edit via spectral view instead of waveform view when I'm trimming up something as important as a sound effect. So I'm going to go from there to there, and I'm going to call that sound effect 1. And just to make sure I've got a clean edit at the end, I'm just going to place a linear fade out here, and then we are sweet. We're good to go. Okay, that's just an impact. I'm going to save that, and actually I'm going to go into Space Effects. I'm going to create another directory called Finals, and I'm going to call this... let's just call it SFX1. I can, once I've made all the sound effects and I'm happy, I can then go through the library I've created and start giving them funny names and stuff like that. So SFX1, make sure I'm saving in the highest quality possible, 44/100 Hertz stereo, 32-bit floating point, looks good to me. Okay, so that's going to be the first one, create the directory, go. Okay, let's go and mess about with this some more now that we've had a little play. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. And now I'm going to create something more with a different effect. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Okay, this is going to be a good candidate. I'm just going to take that, copy it, new file. Oops, didn't want to do that. Let's take that off. Yeah, there we go. New file, paste. I'm going to reverse it. Yes, sweet. Okay, in fact, what I'm actually going to do is going to go in and edit, insert silence of 10 seconds. Bags of reverb again on this. Studio reverb will probably do. Okay, let's bring the wet up. Let's bring the dry down. More wet. Okay, and then reverse it. Okay, and we should get something. That's cool. And then we'll take that and place it in here. And again, riffing on the effect that I've already created earlier on, let's just bring this in here. Probably raise that in amplitude a little bit. Let's do so. That's going to need to go through my reverb bus, I think. Or maybe not. No, that's too much. Okay, none of that. Let's send it back to the master so we can hear it. And then we'll go ahead and this is where you can get really creative. You can do things like this. You can do... Okay, we'll take, I think, the final cut there. Cut that up, and we'll place that into the mix. See how that's going to sound in the mix. Okay, it sounds like a human being at the moment. It sounds like me just going into the microphone. But don't worry, we'll soon change that. Okay, and I might need a little something extra for this. Let's see. Yeah, that'll do perfectly. Again, pulling this into the mix over here. Paste it into a track all of its own. Okay, pull that down. And then with this, we need to do possibly a little bit of pitching. Let's pitch bend it to start with. And we'll really work on moving this down. Let's do that quite slowly over time. And then let's bring that back into multi-track. Okay. Less like a human being, right? And then we'll go in. So yeah, while I'm showing you all these fancy things in Logic and these like cool modulators and reverb bits that you can add to effects, actually in reality, you can just use your voice and a microphone. You can just go, if you literally have no software and you want to start creating sound effects, that is my best tip for you in this live stream. Use your voice and then manipulate the heck out of it. Chorus flanger. Let's just pull in one of these presets to start with. Oh, that's quite nice. 12. Let's just listen to it on solo for a second. Let's go to vocal thickening. Let's go to female voice. Heavy chorus. Maybe that's not the effect for me on this occasion. Let's go to phaser. Zed Leplin, always one of my faves. Rubber Monster. That adds some nice bass into it. Let's see. That's quite interesting. Let's bring that back. No, that's too much. Okay, that's cool. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so there is another one. Let's get this out here. Mix down time selection. And again, this is going to be sound effect number 2. Okay, again, using spectral frequency to edit rather than waveform. Looking for the ends of the sound effect. Here we go, here we go. This time I'm going to show you a different way to master an effect you've just created. Rather than going through the filter and EQ and the compression, you could go into special, you could go into mastering here. You can really do some cool stuff here. Subtle clarity will be great. By the way, I'm aware chat is flying by. I don't have an Isabella or a Dominic to keep an eye on things. More video ideas I can get, the more fun I have, says Michael over on LinkedIn. We got Oliver, we got Raven, Andrew Dale as well over on Facebook Live. Here on YouTube, we got Calm Noise. He's saying having a tea and coffee debate with Doug. And that sounds hilarious how you use your voice for sound effects, says Demonstrate Studios. Thank you very much indeed. Can we see the setting of the pitch bending? Did show it just briefly on the screen there, but yeah, this is just kind of a look in my studio today. This is the kind of work I get up to every day, and I thought, why not invite you in to come and look at how I'm actually working today. So subtle clarity. Okay, and we can go ahead and add some exciter, make that really crispy, and then I can also pull up different frequencies. Hear how crispy that gets. So, and that's with mastering, without mastering, with mastering. Really fat, yeah? So let's add that, let's normalize that, and we're nicely trimmed. Let's do a fade in and a fade out there, and we'll call that SFX2. Okay, let's keep cracking on because I've got to get out before the top of this hour, so I'm going to try and cram in as much more as I can. If there's anything you want to see, just let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue cracking on here. This is like robot talk, isn't it? Robot. I really like robot talk. What am I going to do with robot talk? Okay, so we might use this. Somebody wanted to see pitch bending, so let's show some more pitch bending here. While we've already got a really good sound here already, let's bring this in. Go into time and pitch bender here, and this. Oh no, that's the wrong. That's pitch shifter. Time and pitch bender process. If I set it back to default, it gives you the ability to shape the pitch by using this blue line here. So I can kind of like go. See? So again. Okay, I think I'm just going to use the first little bit of that now that we've got that sounding quite nice. So bringing that in to multi-track. Let's whack this in over here and see what we can do. Okay, I think the first little bit of that might be enough. Reshape the reverb on this because that's a little too intense for my ears anyway on this. Cut that a little bit more, move that over. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to also add in an echo to this track. Let's go echo here. Let's pull the bass right off. Let's make it so it can sync as well. 250, 500 milliseconds with a bit of echo bounce. Yeah, that's too much. So 250, 125, I think. Okay, so that's going to be robot talk. Sometimes an idea will just come to your mind that this sound effect in particular has to be called robot talk. So let's cut, let's fade in, let's edit to the end there, fade out. We use the mastering effect as well on this one, mastering. Just pulling out the mid there a bit. Around 1K, it gives it that more kind of like, just pull the exciter down a bit. Push up the loudness maximizer. Okay, so that is going to be, hang on, let's normalize it as well. Okay, SFX3, and I'm going to call that Robot Talk, because it sounds like that. Peter Young says, it's great watching you work through things like this. Great company on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. You have to do a few more random live streams when you're working on a project. Well, that's a great idea. I mean, would absolutely love to do that. And if you're finding it of value and others are finding it of value, do let me know in the chat and I'll kind of invite you into my studio. Look, there's a very serious looking Isabella right now on your screen. She is seriously hard at work here in the MRC studios, doing all kinds of important stuff, holding things together while I'm here creating space sound effects for you on the live stream. But I'm really glad you're enjoying it, and the comment really helps. This is real interesting, says Calm Noise. Thank you. So let's crack on. Let's create some more stuff. Okay, so we've got a little... okay, that's a little alien sound effect siren. We can definitely use that as a sound effect. Let's pull that up into a... Okay. And again, I want a little bit of crackling and random interference. New file, effects, generate noise. Let's go for white noise. And then we'll just we'll crackle that up like a good one. Effects, time and pitch bender. Someone just hit all the emojis at once on Facebook Live. Thank you for that. I am watching. I can see. Sometimes one emoji is just not enough. You have to hit them all, don't you? Got to get them all. Right, multi-track. Let's pull this in. And let's do something really crazy with this. So reverb, we're going studio. We're going Great Hall here. Cut, cut, cut. Fade, fade, fade. Anybody in the house will think there's some danger coming from the bedroom. If you're live streaming on TV. Nice one, Bob. Yes, this is that's great. Hopefully in 4K. Actually, no, I think this stream is 1080p at the moment. But yeah, we're aspiring 4K here at MRC. Let's see, what can I go for here? A bit of modulation. We'll go for the flanger. And we'll go for robotic. Let's solo that. Let's go for synthetic yo-yo. Pull that down. Okay, what will sound really cool is if I pan that now left and right. That's going to really pull the sound design out of the speakers. And like I say, all of the effects I'm creating here will be available for you this Friday when we also release those space vocal effect presets as well. Okay, that's cool. Mix down time selection. Watching live from Malawi. Nice. Look at that, we got some digital doobies going on there. That's weird, isn't it? What track is creating that? I think it's the... Yeah, it's this track, so I'm going to have to eliminate that. Let's do it like that. Okay, multi-track, mix down, time selection. That's cool. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and I'm going to use special... why the heck not play with distortion? No, sorry about that. No, that's sounding horrid, isn't it? Okay, special guitar suite. No, we'll avoid that, I think. Special mastering. Okay. SFX 4. Let's find something else. Do you have any SFX or laser blast effect samples like how they do in Star Wars? You mean kind of like this? Let's see whether we can make something nice out of this. Let's go over here. And we'll pop this in on this track. Needs. That was slightly off. Let's pull that in a bit. Let's see what we can overlay with that. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get that clank. That is perfectly going to help me out over here. Okay, let's pull that in and see what we can do with this. Okay, let's bounce all of those. Multi-track, bounce, selected clips only. There we go, perfect. Perfect synchronization here. That in there. Okay. Let's find something that works with this. Better. Still a bit loud in the mix. Alright, what else am I going to use here? If anything. Distortion? Maybe distortion here. Send through to an extra track. How are we going to do this? Let's use a send. Send it to a stereo bus called distort. And let's have a look here. Is that all looking good? Turn that up a bit. Over here we had the distortion. Maximum pain. Whoa. Okay, let's turn that down a bit. Whoa. Okay, that's too much. Just really brings the laser out there. Can you hear that? I'm going to knock off some frequencies here in the EQ as well. FFT will do this nicely. So it's kind of a background, and actually I might actually send that through to the distort bus as well. Whoa. I've broken it. Okay, laser piaos. Let's send that time selection out. And then we'll special mastering. Well, that's super loud, isn't it now? Yeah, that's coming out really big. Let's push the loudness maximizer up on that. Something tells me it needs a little bit of manufactured echo here. Yeah, that's much better. That adds the final touch. And then I will look into doing the final thing here, which is going to be, let's see. Let me remember what I was doing here. Mastering, that's it. Loudness maximizer a bit too high there. There we go. And this is SFX5. And that's it, gotta go. But I thought I'd just invite you into the studio for an hour just to check things out, and that is how you create space sound effects. I hope you have fun doing this. Demonstrate Studios has had fun. Thank you so much, everyone who's been watching. Do I dare mix in Isabella's laugh? She is there. She is smiling as well. Potential for a laugh as well. Thank you for joining me for this rather impromptu stream. Do go and tell your friends about Music Radio Creative and our live streams, trying to do them as often as possible so that I can bring great information out to the world, including you. So for the time being, have a fantastic rest of your day. It was lovely of you to join me on this live stream.